I recognize who they are as having made the choice to come to Berkeley and as musicians, but I also want for them to draw, and I want for them to look, and I want for them to think about all the ways in which music is connected to visual culture. We're in a media culture. It's not just one part of it, and the music industry is deeply connected to these other kinds of media. So I want them to think about all of these things and how they're connected. It's all part of culture. And so that's very important. So I want them to always be thinking about how whatever it is they're studying in my class, like that visual culture class, how that connects to their everyday life and how they are already a participant and already a maker of visual culture and of the media culture in which we live, and how their music, the music that they enjoy, that they purchase, that they consume, that they listen to, all of that, and that they make as well, how that connects to something wider. Now, the other way that I connect to it is, to this question that you're asking, is that there's been this growing, really just like burgeoning, blossoming interest in making audio and composing for video games.
I see.
That's a hot industry. The video game industry is exploding. It's huge. It's a big part of the entertainment industry. It's a big part of technology. It's a big part of everything. And so, of course, Berkeley is really at the forefront of this with our strengths in composing and in electronic music and production. And so one of the things, as I've been getting more and more interested in virtual worlds and immersive environments and digital narrative, which when we were at Emerson together all those years ago,
yes.
I was teaching 10 years ago, teaching a course in digital narrative then.
That's
of course,
right.
digital narrative is very different now, these many years later, but that interest of mine has really intersected with this video game interest. And so I've been designing courses and working on how to provide liberal arts study side to really make that area much deeper, and to help students think about video games and how all the things I was just saying about visual culture, how do video games fit into a wider culture? How can we think about storytelling, and what does it mean to be a first-person character in a video game? What kind of experience is that? What does that mean if you spend time doing that? What does that mean to do that in a video game, to do that in a virtual world? What does it mean to have agency, right? That's a term from philosophy, from psychology,
yeah.
right? What does it mean to be able to affect change on
yeah,
the world
to act.
around you, to be able to act, to make decisions that affect change, decisions that make other things happen, that change what's around you. And that's something that people experience in video games and in virtual worlds. Well, what does that mean, for people when they're thinking about making music for video games? That's really important, because even though you might not notice the music when you're playing a video game, that's a really important part of the experience. The same way, of course, it is when you're watching a movie, like the students who are in film scoring, what they learn about. And so being able to give students that kind of liberal arts, humanities perspective on video games, virtual worlds, immersive environments, and what it means to play games, thinking about storytelling, all of that is a way in which one of my areas of expertise and my areas of research has really kind of connected to something that Berkeley students are really interested in. Some Berkeley students are interested in.
Well, the devoted viewers out there, I'm sure you're already intrigued by what Laurie is trying to describe to you. So what I'm going to ask her to do for your benefit, for your education, for your enlightenment, is to break the terms for you. She's going to very painstakingly and patiently describe for us in the next 10 minutes or so what she means by the virtual world, what she means by Second Life, what she means by visual culture, and how these three relate concretely to the media life in which, whether we like it or not, all of us are immersed. So may I have the pleasure of asking you to break down these terms for us.
Sure.
Let's begin with a conception of the virtual world. There are two terms in it, virtual and world.
So virtual, first of all, would be in opposition to what is actual, material, and physical.
Okay.
So virtual will be something that is rendered in a computer, right? And something so that when, what would be a good example? When you go, if you order groceries online,
Okay.
right? That's something that you would have a virtual shopping experience as opposed to going to the grocery store.
I see. I
Right?
see.
So it's virtually there. It's not really physically there.
But
Right.
it's
So
there.
that's that
Yes.
idea of like the virtual.
I like it,
So
yeah.
some people talk about virtual, like a virtual world or a virtual experience versus a real experience. And I kind of back away from that because
Why?
I think that the experiences that people can have, say, when they're online, or the kind of art that people can make in a virtual world are just as not the same, but they are also real. It is a different kind of real.
I see.
Yes. So yeah. So the same way that you might write a letter to someone, and that's a kind of communication. And if you write an email to someone, it is also a kind of communication, even though there's no physical letter there. Right. So that's the kind of distinction, and there's some ways that the idea of the intangible, what you
Yes.
cannot touch,
Yes, that's
have
right.
become really a part of
Of
just
our-
everyday life,
That's
like
right.
email or
You're right.
finding out information on the web to say that, oh, I'm going to Google that.
That's
right.
You're quite
A
right.
few years ago, someone had
That's
said to you,
before.
I'm going to Google
Google that,
You're
yeah.
like, what are you talking about? That's what crazy
Now
word
everybody
is this?
knows that.
Everybody says that. I'm going to Google that. Or
Google that, Google it.
that. Or even the idea of where are you going to get your news from? Like, is it a newspaper that you're going to hold onto and get ink all over your fingers and have to do something with and pile up? Or are you going to go to an electronic form where there's not some physical thing there? We're right on the edge now, right now for us here in America, not everywhere all over the world for everybody, but for us here with the kind of technology that we have, for the most part, people are really on the edge of not having as many actual physical things.
Contacts, you're quite right.
Yes. And so there are all kinds of ways that there are things that have become just normal that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, just were not. Everybody, not everybody, most people email. A lot of people are on Facebook. My mother-in-law just got on Facebook. That's the kind of thing that it just seems to expand, through generations and all over the place. I mean, it's really, really interesting in that way. People want to be in contact with each other. People want to Skype and be in contact when something like video teleconferencing was something that used to be available only to a very, very few. Right, that idea that you could have kind of simultaneous, synchronous conversations with somebody and be able to see them on video was something that was only available to an elite few, to corporations. Now anybody can do it who has a computer and a webcam. I mean, it's kind of amazing how democratized some of these technologies are. And virtual worlds are one of these kinds of things. It's a particular kind of thing in that instead of using like video and Skype and images of people communicate through representations called avatars.
Yes,
I think that's
wanted
really
to talk
fun.
about
I think
avatars.
an
What are
avatar.
avatars?
So avatars they're kind of cartoons, really.
I see.
They're graphics. Some people have ones that are very detailed and look a lot like them. Other people have ones that don't look much like them at all. But one way to think about it is it's your representation of however you want to represent yourself in the virtual world.
Amazing.
Now that's something that some people find very exciting and creative and great. Other people find unnerving and threatening. And who's behind that avatar? And how do I know who that person is? And well, you sort of don't. But that's that particular thing.
You're quite right in that. Speaking about Google it,
Yeah.
I Googled you.
Yes. Oh, you Googled me.
I
Okay.
Googled the virtual world.
Yes.
And then I saw that